Hey guys, how's it going? CECH back again with another episode of the Chelsea Career Mode here on Xbox One. We're into episode number 75 and we've got some games very close together, as you can see. 3 games in the space of 5 days. It's going to be a real test for the entire squad. But before we get into it, of course, as always, if you want to get yourself some Ultimate Team coins, then check the link in the description to take you to footcoinking.com. If you use the code CHES at checkout, CHES, then you get yourself an extra 5% off. And it's an automated service, so you get your coins pretty much instantly as soon as you place the order, so it's fantastic. But as we head into the first game, home against Sunderland in the FA Cup. This is a replay, of course. We played away from home in the snow against Sunderland last week, and unfortunately we're only able to come away with a draw. So we're having to come back to Stamford Bridge to try and get the job done, and they were kind of clearing me out down the left-hand side, skipping past challenge after challenge before fortunately Courtois was able to get on the end of the header from Connor Wickham, and we were able to keep them out. But they used the same tactic again just a few minutes later, coming down this left-hand side. This time we were a little bit tighter to the man, but he still manages to get away, and somehow Kurt Zouma misses that header. I was so disappointed in him there. He's had such a decent spell so far for us since coming in. He's a young player, still got a lot to learn and a lot of potential to live up to. But you really would have expected him to win that header. He was the first to the ball, and unfortunately he just missed it. Connor Wickham comes in behind him, and they get themselves 1-0 up. And we almost get ourselves back in it there through Luka Modric. Does really well to cut inside, and all it took was a deflection off either the first defender or the second defender. Nutmegs both of them, and that would have ended up going into the back of the net. But he just about manages to pull the shot wide, and unfortunately we stay at 1-0 down. Sorry. So head into the second half on the attack again. Marco van Ginkel draws a great save out of Kieran Westwood in goal, and that was a trait of the first game as well. The original game that we in fact drew. Kieran Westwood made some crucial saves to ensure that we didn't win that game, and he's keeping Sunderland in it here as well. Oscar's on the ball now. We made a couple of changes. Only 10 minutes to go here. We need a chance now or never. The ball from Callas is really poor, but we are in fact going to get another chance through Luka Modric. He's going to roulette past one defender, takes the shot, and again a fantastic save down low by the goalkeeper. Keeps Luka Modric out, and in fact we're going to lose that game. That is our first defeat in all competitions this season, and that in fact is a lie from me, because we lost to Borussia Dortmund, didn't we, in the opening leg of the Champions League round of 16. That's our second defeat in all competitions this season, but it's the first time we've been knocked out of a competition this year. We are now out of the FA Cup at the round of 16 stage. Unfortunately, the hunt for that particular trophy has now come to an end, but we've already won the Capital One Cup final. We had the live comment of that last Friday. If you missed it, then check the annotation in your bottom left hand side of your screen. Of course, check the channel page for anything you may have missed throughout the entirety of the weekend, whether that be My Player, World Cup Road to Glory, or of course any episodes of this series last week. We head into the next game, back to Barclays Premier League action. We're away from home against Leicester City. Now, they're actually going to get off to a fantastic start. Somehow Paul Gallagher manages to get the ball under control and then just keep it moving, regardless of the fact that he doesn't actually move himself all too much when he receives the ball in the box there. Keeps it away from me. Ashley Cole dives in to try and get there, but unfortunately he isn't able to get anywhere near it, and Paul Gallagher puts Leicester 1-0 up. But just 2 minutes later, Loic Remy dances into their box. Really nice turn, timed at just the right moment. You'll see from the replay, literally as he turns, the defender goes for that tackle and misses the ball right there. Fantastic turn from the Frenchman, drills the ball into the bottom corner, and we get ourselves back on level terms. But Leicester are going to come straight back at us again on the half-hour mark now. Jamie Vardy plays in James, plays the ball over the top to Chris Wood, who was involved in the first goal, plays the ball into the box, and somehow I didn't call the goalkeeper out there, and Petr Cech just came and lunged at it, even though the man had already headed it towards goal before he even got there. You'll see from the replay, the ball is already on its way towards the target before Petr Cech even gets even remotely close to it. There was a defender underneath it as well. For some reason, he's gone absolutely mental and decided to try and throw himself at that, despite the fact that Mangala was underneath it. Unfortunately, it's cost us, and we go 2-1 down, but we're on the attack again. They got to the rebound off the post there. We're actually going to get a chance here through Andre Schürrle. Cuts inside. First shot's well saved by the goalkeeper, but we get a rebound of our own. Lucas Piazza on his on hand shows great reactions to racing, great desire to get there ahead of the defender, and we bring us back on level terms again at 2-2. So just after the half-time break now, we pushed into the second period at 2-2. Marco Reus, just 2 minutes into the second half, is going to give us a 3-2 lead. So we come from behind twice, and now we find ourselves in front. A really good finish from Marco there. Just kept running wider and wider with Vidal, perhaps using the same sort of tactics that I have been in the FUT World Cup with exploiting those over-the-top through balls. See, Vidal comes kind of parallel to the pitch and then plays the lob through ball. Royce brings it down. It's a great strike. So much power and accuracy behind that, the goalkeeper stood absolutely no chance. We took ourselves a 3-2 lead. So we're ahead for the first time in the game, but Leicester City were going to come back at us. 20 minutes still to go, and again, I didn't call Petr Cech out there. He's had another absolute moment of madness. He rushes out to the ball when there's 2 or 3 defenders there on the cover that can easily deal with the situation. He puts me off, and then I start panicking, thinking he's just going to come out and wipe everyone out. So I pause with my defending, and they're able to play the ball back over the top and into the back of the net. And then another random lob through ball ends up with a Schlupp in behind, and he just puts them back in front again. In the space of 5 minutes, we've gone from 3-2 up, from leading for the first time in the game, to being 4-3 down and behind for the 3rd time. And it was a case of, well, can we get ourselves back in it? And in actual fact, we couldn't. We went 5-3 down. They played another lobbed through ball, and again, the entirety of the defence just switched off and let the man turn. Mangala's attempt to head this ball and get rid of it was absolutely atrocious. You'll be able to see from the replay. Watch Mangala, the man that's on the guy that brings it down. What even is that as an attempt to try and beat the man to the ball? Ridiculously terrible defending. We lose that game 5-3. That's our first defeat in the Premier League. So we've now lost in the Champions League. We've now lost in the FA Cup, and that's knocked us out. Fortunately, we didn't lose in the Capital One Cup. We were able to win that competition, but we have now lost in the BPL as well. And I think I have to say it's probably down to fatigue, because of course we had the game against Wolves 2 days before the game against Sunderland. Then it's a case of days rest, another game, days rest, another game, days rest, another game, and the rotation in the squad that I'm trying to do still isn't enough, and everyone is going into the games really, really tired. Fortunately, we have built up a decent lead in the league, and we are still 9 points ahead regardless of that defeat, but we're going to try and bounce back here against Newcastle if we possibly can. Decent shot from Oscar, draws a good save out of Tim Krul, and we're going to pick ourselves up a corner. It's Christian Atsu rather, that whips the ball in, and Tim Krul again on hand, comes out, and this time it's a goal. A case of a goalkeeper coming out and dealing with the situation rather than coming out and just completely fluffing his lines, which Petr Cech did in the previous game. But we stay at 0-0 for the time being, but Newcastle are going to come on the attack in the 10th minute. Nice lob through ball into Chertsey. He plays the ball in behind, and I have no idea where Danilo went then. I was in control of the man in the middle, switched to Danilo, and he just jumped forward 2 or 3 paces whilst Jonas Gutierrez disappeared the other way. So we found ourselves 1-0 down through another defensive error that, I have to be honest, probably wasn't my fault, although I may have had something to do with the direction of the player because of the direction I was holding with the centre-back. But regardless of that, we found ourselves 2-0 down just 2 minutes later. And honestly, I'm glad this particular episode wasn't recorded live, because I was shouting at my television like you wouldn't believe. I just physically could not understand what was happening. I sat here face palming, just going, I don't understand. Look, Rafael Varane's first touch there has knocked the ball 3 yards behind him. The ball's coming across him from left to right. He sticks his right foot out to control it, and it's rebounded off his leg and gone 3 to 4 yards behind him, back the other way, straight to Chettiota, who's waiting there just to put it in the back of the net. These are the sort of defensive errors that we encountered in the second season in this series a few months ago when we stepped up to Legendary, and in fact we found that it was doing that. I felt that the computer was making my players make unnecessary mistakes on purpose, just to give it the impression that it was a harder difficulty. And as of this point in this particular series, now we've stepped back up to Legendary, we hadn't had that sort of situation arise, and I felt quite comfortable with the fact that we weren't going to. But in this episode, maybe it is just a case of a mixture of tired players, poor reactions, and maybe some poor play from me. But all of those combined have led to us being, 5-3 defeat against, what is Pato doing there? 3 attempts he's had to try and head that into the back of the net, and he just shoulders it, arms it, and lets it come off the top of his head and goes out for a goal kick. It was ridiculous. But maybe it is just a mixture of the tiredness led us to a 1-0 defeat against Sunderland, a 5-3 defeat against Leicester, and now we're 2-0 down heading into the second half, and now we're actually going to be 3-0 down as Mambaram Diouf gets a really tidy finish in. Again, the ball just rebounded around on the edge of the box, and they profit from it. Diouf just ridiculous angle actually to get the ball across from there with that amount of power into the bottom corner, and we find ourselves 3-0 down. I brought Hazard and Aguero on, a tired Hazard and Aguero, but they aren't my two best players, so I had to do something to try and get myself back in this game. And Eden Hazard is going to link up with Aguero. They're going to play a kind of elongated 1-2 here. Hazard's going to get himself on the end of it, and I tried to dink it over the goalkeeper, but Tim Krul's one of the best keepers in the league when it comes to reactions, and he's able to react and get an arm up to it and keep us out. So 3 defeats on the trot in this particular episode, and I most definitely just saved the game, turned my Xbox off, and haven't touched career mode since. I recorded this like Saturday, it's now Monday, and I still haven't recorded tomorrow's episode because I was so annoyed at myself for my performance in this particular episode. I wanted to make sure that we sorted ourselves out, because the very next game is going to be the second leg of the Champions League against Borussia Dortmund, in which we need a victory. So I have to make sure that I'm at my best and playing in good form to make sure we can actually progress in the Champions League. So I don't want to go out of 2 competitions in the space of 2 days, which would be absolutely terrible. It's kind of almost Arsenal-esque if we actually do that. But anyway, that's going to bring this particular episode to a close, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I can only apologise for the way that this particular episode went. If you'd like to leave the video a like, if you enjoyed, that would be absolutely superb. Of course, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's a link on your screen to do so on the left-hand side. There's also a link in the description to subscribe as well as links to my Twitter and to my Instagram if you want to follow me over there. And of course, as always, you'll find the link to Footcoin King to get some coins if you need them for Ultimate Team as well. And of course, be sure to use my code CHEZ at checkout to get yourself that discount. But that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you tonight with more World Cup Road to Glory. We'll have more of this tomorrow and more My Player, and I will see you next time.